Yo guys, hope you're all good and welcome back to the channel. On today's video we are going to look at one of my favourite moves to do, and that is the BunnyHop Manual. For those of you who don't know, BunnyHop Manual or Hop Manual is basically going up to a step, hopping up it using the bunny hop technique, and rather than doing it to two wheels you do it to your back wheel, and then you maintain the manual for the duration of the ledge that you're hopping up on. It could be a bench, it could be a wall, but in this instance I'm going to be doing it on some pallets. But yeah, going to go through the technique, show you how best to learn them, and hopefully you guys will get some sweet bunny hop manuals perfected by the end of the video. Before we get started on the hop manual, I'm going to give you a quick crash course of how to do a manual. I've done a separate tutorial specifically with the aim of showing you guys how to do the basic manual. But I'm going to quickly show you a manual on the flat ground and then we'll move it back onto the ledge. So as you can see in the slow-mos there, the manual is basically preloading into the ground on your front wheel, pulling that up, and then using a mixture of body weight balance and a little bit of your back brake to maintain your front wheel in the air. Basically, as your front wheel is going lower down to the ground, you're going to tilt your whole body weight back to keep it higher, and then if your front wheel is coming a little bit too far back, you can tether your back brake a little bit to get yourself back into the balance point. If you want to see that in more detail, please head over to the other video. I'll link it in the description here, and we're now going to move on to doing the hop manual on the ledge that we have in the driveway. So when you're looking for something to learn this on, the ideal setup is basically a ledge that's a little bit lower than what your max hop is otherwise when you're, say, hopping to back wheel statically or even hopping to two wheels. The reason for that is when you're doing a bunny hop to manual, you need to get your back wheel just a little bit higher than you usually would, even if it's just a few inches, to prevent your back wheel hanging up on the edge and killing all your momentum, which will stop you from being able to do a sustained manual for the rest of the ledge. So to start these off, I'm going to show you a quick basic technique of hopping up to back wheel, which is pretty much the same as what you're going to need to do with a hop to manual with a couple of little tweaks. So as you'll see in that technique, I come up at a sort of slightly faster than walking pace, preloading my front wheel, pull up, come in quite steep, and as my back wheel is landing on that edge, I pull my back brake and my front wheel then comes down to the ground. That's basically what you want to get dialed before you move on to the hop to manual. We just tweak that move ever so slightly. So the main difference I do when I come to do the hop to manual is very similar, maybe with a little bit more speed and a slightly higher hop. I just pull my back wheel a little bit higher to myself, and that will just give you that extra couple of inches of clearance to stop your front wheel kind of coming down, and it just means you'll get a clean run with your back wheel, and it means you keep all your momentum for hopefully being able to pull that manual off the end. So like I said before, technique was the same as the hop up to back wheel technique. Keeping my weight a little bit further forward, my front wheel actually weirdly lower, but the crucial thing there was the back wheel just gets tucked up a little bit closer to my body, which means it doesn't get caught on the back of the obstacle and pulling your front wheel down, and then you just keep your momentum going forward. Quick thing to mention as well, you might think that it's easier to do a hop to manual on a shorter thing, but it does raise the stakes a little bit, because if you hop up, the sort of most likely part you're going to lose your balance is at the start, because you're obviously just done the hop, and then by maybe 2 or 3 feet in, you're able to kind of fix any little imbalances, because that's going to happen after you do that first hop. So if you do have a slightly longer one, it's going to give you a little bit more time to lock the manual in as you get towards the end, because that's obviously the scary part, especially when you get higher and higher. I'll do one hop where I'd show you doing it too steep, then I'll do one too low, and then I'll hopefully then do one in the sweet spot. It's pretty fine margins when it comes to this trick, so again, like everything, it's a case of just practicing on a setup that feels safe to you and sort of working out those tolerances yourself. It's actually quite scary. Yeah, so I guess that's what happens when you try and hop up too hard, get your front wheel too high. You're just going to loop out. Obviously covering your back brake is going to help eliminate doing that, but it's really important, because it's all about momentum, that you try and get that hop to manual in as locked in as possible, because if you hang up on the back pallet you're going to kill your momentum. If you go too steep, you're either going to come back off or you're going to have to use a lot of back brake. It's going to kill your momentum. It's all about getting it locked in as best as you can, because That's going to make it look the best. So on that one I was just a little bit too level, so by the time I actually hopped up and tried to lock in the manual, my front wheel was just a little bit too low, and unless you're really able to pull that back, you're always going to be struggling to get it back and corrected in time to basically pull it, especially when you've got to drop it at the end, because the last thing you want to be doing is be still in that sort of fighting stroke battling stage of the manual as you get closer to the edge, because that's when stuff gets pretty scary. Now I'm going to try get a nice hop and then get my front wheel locked in like just into perfect position, so I need minimal corrective movement of my body and hopefully pretty much zero back brake. So that one there was at getting it just right. I didn't need to do too much corrective movements from my body to pull the front wheel up, and I didn't need to pull the back brake at all, which inevitably kills the momentum, which obviously has a massive knock-on effect to how far you can actually go with the BunnyHop Manual, because if you lose that speed, obviously with manuals not being able to pedal, there's not really any way of getting that speed back, so it's all about just really trying to lock it into place. So yeah, that was a quick crash course on how to do a hop manual. Like I say, one of my favourite tricks, and it's definitely a really satisfying one once you really get dialed in, so it's definitely worth putting the time in to get it perfected. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Please let us know in the comments if you've got any more questions about the technique. If you have any more suggestions of what videos or tutorials you'd like to see us do next, please let us know, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more. Catch you in the next one. Peace.